We are here today with Anthony. I had the pleasure of meeting Anthony for the first time a few minutes ago outside. It's Veterans Day at the National Automobile Museum, and we're just celebrating our veterans. And Anthony, thank you for joining us. Can you please share what branch of the military were you in and what years?
I joined the Army in 1943. I was 17 years old, in active duty. And we joined Army Specialized Training Program. In high school in 43, we took an exam. Upper right-hand corner was A and B. I circled A because my older brother graduated from Stevens Institute of Technology and brought me many times to Stevens Institute, so I joined the engineers. We were then sent to Syracuse, Army Specialized Training Program, to study physics and map reading and so on. After that, 3 months, we then turned 18, and Yankee Doodle Dandy was playing in Newark, where I come from. I got in free because I had a plain uniform on. My sisters had to pay. Then I turned 18 and was sent down to Fort Benning, Georgia. And here was a very sad thing. My father already had one son in the Pacific, my brother Joe. Now we happen to be Italian. 1 million of us Italian boys were in World War II. Imagine that. How did we get here? Well, between 1890 and 1910, 20 million Italians came, mostly from southern Italy. My father from Naples, my mother from Sicily, and they came here about 1906. And that's why there are 1 million Italian boys, Italian blood, 100%, in the U.S. Armed Forces of World War II. Imagine that.
Wow, that's a lot. What did you do when you were in the Army?
I gave this talk recently to the middle school, and so it's fresh on mine.
What did you do when you were there? You mentioned something about the Jeep earlier.
Oh, yes. So after Fort Benning, Georgia, we were transferred to Fort Jackson, 87th Infantry Division, which ended up in the Battle of the Bulge. Anyhow, after 2 weeks in the 87th Infantry, I was transferred to the 1255th Combat Engineers in Fort Jackson. I was interviewed by the captain, and I was only 120 pounds and 5 feet 6. He says, you go to H&S, Headquarters and Supply. There's 4 companies in the Combat Engineer Battalion. I got down there, and I went back to him. I said, Captain, I asked the sergeant, Captain, my paternal grandparents near Salerno, where we just had landed there, Anzio, Beacon, and Salerno, were being held captive by the Germans. I said, Captain, I want to be more active. So you want to go into A Company. A Company is the first one to hit the front line. So he put me in A Company. A few days later, the sergeant came to my cabin, said, go down to Mortar Pool. I went down there. They made me his Jeep driver. I said, what is this for? Every time you hold this, you put your foot on that left thing called the clutch. I never drove. My father never. I became a Jeep driver.
And where did you get a chance to travel? Where were you for most of the war?
Well, first we went overseas as engineers.
Engineers? What part? Where'd you go to first?
Liverpool.
Okay.
And we were in a big ship. The Dominion Monarch, a converted Canadian ship, 10,000 of us. 10,000. And in the middle of the big convoy, October 1944. Landed in Liverpool. Then we traveled by bus and train to Devonshire, above Plymouth, Devon. And really depressing marching in the dark between the hedgerows. We never saw hedgerows before. And hedgerows in southern England and Normandy, of course.
Right. So when you hear the word veteran or patriot, what does it mean to you? What feelings does it bring out? Or when you hear the word veteran or you're a patriot, what does that mean to you?
It means I mourn every day my 12 friends that died and 50 were wounded. One boy, 19, died in my Jeep. I was 19. So we have survival guilt. You ask, why do veterans commit suicide more than the normal male population? We have survival guilt. Here I am, 99 years old, and every morning I mourn my friends. And one boy died in my Jeep, and other boys.
Yeah, there's probably so many more stories like that. I want to thank you very much for your service, and thank you for coming here today. I have one other question for you. Do you remember what your first car was?
What?
What was your first car? What was the first? Was the Jeep the first one you drove?
1942 Ford Jeep was the best car I've ever had.
And that's
the only trouble I had was flat tires from the shrapnel. And to take apart the Jeep tire, you had to peel it off and then fix the inner tube and then pump it up again. Everybody else was sleeping, and I collected German hobnails and shrapnel in my tires.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much.
The other thing too is that
Yes, sir.
the tires were smooth. It skidded a lot, and especially on cobblestones. And I went on patrol on the Jersey, the Normandy coast, and one time let off the gas and just spun around. Luckily, we didn't hit any because of smooth tire. Against the mud, you know.
Not a lot of tread over there.
The tires are cleats. You know?
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for your service, and thank you for visiting us today.